is just a slide that shows you, I mean, this slide was done, I think, in 2016. It just shows in the US being the biggest market in the entertainment industry. It shows you what are the sales figures. You can see which ones are dropping. You can see which ones are going up. You know, the vinyls are coming back a bit. The cassettes have almost disappeared, right? CDs and DVDs had shot up, but look at the decline. They're coming significantly down. And what is going up is streaming and uploading. Right? Now, this is what you need to do in any business, right? Because remember, in as much as you're a creative, you're excited about what you do, this is a business. So in business, this is what you need to know. This is your knowledge part. You yourself must seek that knowledge. Life has become easy now. You can Google on your smart gadget, right? Whatever information, you can just check and Google. So you need to empower yourself with self-knowledge, right? You need to gain understanding of what is happening, and I guess that's why GOGO Music has done this industry workshop, to give you knowledge and we share the understanding. Once you have these two pillars, your confidence is going to grow. It flows. You become confident because you are in a business that you understand. And then the energy will be even better because now you understand. If I make this song, if I make this bite, if I make this, this is what I am entitled to. And this is the deal I can take, or this is the deal that I can take. And of course you excel. Right? Now, the whole space of your music and creative, we call it in law intellectual property law. Right? So it's a big word. So you guys are intellects because you produce this property, right? So it's a big word. You must give yourself a round of applause because you're intellectuals. The world recognizes you as creatives. In the economy, you are in the knowledge-based economy. Right? So you use your brain to think and to entertain people. But like in anything else, prevention is better than cure. So make sure that before you get excited, you have enlisted somebody who can read and tell you about your rights before you sign them away. This is how the whole industry works in most countries. In our country, we have a minister and government that enters into the Mabena Convention under the United Nations, where all countries agree this is how we are going to protect the intellectual property. We all agree, and then we sign those treaties, right, at the UN to say this is how we are all going to deal with intellectual property. And then you are in this block at the bottom here, creative arts knowledge. It's also called knowledge economies in other parts of the world. Now, there are four almost rights that are key in intellectual property. One of them is trademarks. We're going to talk about that. And you're going to see, in terms of your own development, how quickly you are moving from music to trademark, brand. Don't touch my brand, right? And then you've got designs, and then you've got copyright, which is your space, which is, performing rights, which is what we have spoken about. And I believe our colleagues in SAMRO will touch more about that. This is your space. This is where you are. Artistic performance, this is where you are. And then you've got, of course, patents. You know that this laptop is patented by somebody else. Right? So under trademarks, you've got about 45 classes of trademarks. Right? There are different categories. One of them could be the t-shirt you're wearing, my brother, athletic, that's somebody else's trademark. That's why you always see an R in circle, or TM, trademark in circle. Means that that is somebody else's property, design, it is protected. So the difference though is, trademarks are registered in South Africa, whereas copyright is not registered. Right? In other countries you register copyright, like in the US. Here we don't register copyright, and we'll explain why. And then under your copyright, you've got literary works, you've got music works, which is you, you've got sound recording, you've got broadcasting, cinematograph, public editions, database computer programs, program signals, as well as dramatic works, those who do drama, theatre, and the likes. So these are type of copyrights that you'll be involved in particular, but yourselves will be probably involved in literary music and sound recording as well as broadcasting, because this is where you get your royalties. Now, there are almost 7 sector business information that you need to know in this scheme, right? You remember I said, as an artist, you are straddling between copyright and trademarks, and I'll show you why. Check how many, you call them celebrities, right? Yeah. Check how many celebrities are just selling their Instagram followers. Right? Just that. Endorsements, just that. That's where they make their money now. How many followers do you have? If you've got so many followers, then a particular company, whether it's techniques and the likes, they will want you to just advertise on your Instagram because they are tapping on your followers, either on Twitter or social, any other social network. Right? This is where trademark comes in, because you are now selling your brand, you're selling your face, you're selling your name as a person. Right? So that's why there is that symbiosis between copyright as well as trademarks, and we'll explain with other court cases how it plays itself out. And then you may have, under copyright, you are related to the media industry, right? Somebody's got to play your song. Somebody's got to give you exposure on print media, community radio stations, commercial radio stations. So you have that relationship on the far right. You've got your fan base. I've alluded to that because most of your followers are your fans, isn't it? So you've got that fan base, and somebody else is going to talk to you on social media will tell you, how do you behave so that I keep on continuing following you? Because I can just discontinue following you. If I discontinue following you, your brand suffers. If your brand suffers, corporate runs away. So there's a whole way of making money except the music itself, is to treat yourself as a brand, treat yourself as a trademark, respect the work that you are doing. Because through your name, you don't know who's following you and what influence does that person have in corporate. This is where you get your corporate gigs. This is where you may get endorsements. I know South Africa may not be needing endorsements, but in other countries you get to see Pharrell and whoever endorsing big brands. But it's starting slowly in South Africa as well. DJ Jiya just signed something with a black company. Yes, Sizo Medical Fund, a black company under the MISA, which is called 360. It's just something. So this is where you make the money, not just with your traditional way of streams, because the industry is developing now. So trademarks and image rights, this is you again, this is your brand, right? Industry investments are alluded to that. Copyright, recording industry, copyright again, publishing industry, retires alluded to that. Copyright again, performance rights, which is what our SAMRO colleagues are going to talk about. Now, Copyright Act in South Africa is that one of 98 to 1978. We are busy now with the amendment. There's a whole lot of politics around it because it brings certain concepts like fair use, fair dealing. So there's been a whole lot of challenges in Parliament to say, is this what we should be doing in South Africa? Is this what we should not be doing? But literally, this is how the current act is structured. Under Section 6, this is where you are. You've got musical and literary works. That's you, right? Section 7 is artistic work, photograph. If I were to talk about photography, you know that using somebody else's picture, right? The guy who's taking pictures now, I don't know whether it's commissioned by GOGO Music, but let me make a distinction. If somebody was to take a picture commissioned by GOGO Music, the picture belongs to GOGO Music. But if somebody was to come here and take a picture, that picture belongs to the photographer. There's a big case around Mandela, done by a good friend of ours and Christos. It involves videos, because some guy called Harris, when Mandela was about to be interviewed with Tony Blair, arrived early, greeted Mandela, and said, "Can I take a picture?" Mandela said, "By all means." That's the picture that we all used when Mandela passed away. So for some reason, GCIS, of all the pictures, decided to use that one. And it did not credit the author. He's suing them now. It's videos. Right. So just to explain that what is it that happens around here. Then section 8 deals with cinematography, films related to it is what Victor said. In the films there are a lot of soundtracks, right? And music. And then section 9 deals about sound recording. I'm going to skip this because Victor has spoken a lot about it, but these are some of the laws that you need to understand. Performance protection, if you're a real performer, you come here in this venue and you perform. Collection society regulations, he has spoken around that a lot, SAMRO and others. You need to have there are content regulations, right, that regulate these industries. There's a whole lot around it. The Minister of DTI, because all these intellectual property fall under the Department of Trade and Industry, which is Rob Davis, did a copyright review commission, which found out a whole lot of wrong things that are happening in the industry, including collecting agencies, right? So there is even a proposal there that there must be one collecting agency, so that there isn't much paperwork in terms of registering with this and that. So there are a lot of recommendations that the Copyright Review Commission is doing. You guys need to know that you must know your contract a little bit. If you can't get a lawyer to read it for you, know the tax laws, because you're a business. If you get money, you're going to pay Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Right? So you may miss out on a number of corporate gigs because you are not registered. So they may like you at Ekuruleni, or they may like you at Joburg City, but you don't have paperwork. So make sure that, because this is a business, register with SARS. Right? There are almost 5 types of copyrights, and there are 2 classes of trademarks that are related with what we are talking about. Performance rights, this is where I explain. Live recorded performing rights are assigned to SAMRO sometimes, and I've just heard now that they've given some of their rights, because by law they can only deal with one right. Okay. Now, your rights equals money. So your copyright, this thing that you have, is equals to revenue. That's why you must protect it. Generally, this is what is happening. There's a lot of management. Chris and Ralf will tell you. There's a lot of management, more than creativity in studio or somewhere. That has to do with this. You might have heard Victor. You must register with this. You must register with that. So you gotta get your game right. Almost 80% of what you do is more about administration and management. That's how you make your money. You get this wrong, you can be good in all these others. But if you get the management part wrong, you're dead. If you can't manage yourself, remember, management is not about you hiring a manager. If you can't manage yourself, your social media will be bad. It will affect your brand. Nobody's going to book you. There's so many controversies around you. So the rest of what you do in terms of being creative, you see the small percentage that it does. Most of it is administration and management. Of course, if you look at the whole industry, those who are big, you gotta look at having a tour manager, a business manager. But I know there are a lot of big guys that don't even do that. But at least they understand what is it that they need to do. When you get your gig in time, what do you do? This and this. How do you make sure that you don't do one and the same gig within a short radius square? Because otherwise, remember, I use your name to attract people to the venue. But if you're performing a kilometer away a day, it kills me. So those are some of the things that you need to understand. Now, we're going to talk a lot about contract, because in as much as there could be emphasis on intellectual property and copyright, all of it at the end, when Victor calls you or whoever calls you, you are going to sign a contract. So that's what is key. I see a hand here.
So, is there industry formula or rule about impact management when artists decide to label? Is there industry rule how much an artist is looking for in terms of branding sales? How much they get paid?
I'm going to try and answer this question here. It depends on what you sign. Right? If you are excited and you sign your rights away, which happens a lot, you'll cry foul. And there's a number of cases. And I'm going to try and show you in terms of case law, what have the courts pronounced around that. Take the Linda song, Ubabulida, the Mbuve song, the Lion Sleep. The court was sympathetic, so there's been money that has been allocated to his family, because the court felt that, those few shillings that Linda might have signed them away, it was not a proper equal bargaining power, right? It was during apartheid, this person was not literate enough, this and this. So the court went through each and every step to say no. In as much as he signed his rights away, you as a record company gave him a royalty because the bargaining power was not right. And we know what was happening in South Africa back then. So there's a whole lot in terms of case law, emphasis on what does public policy say. So what and I'm going to show you that how it differs from one case to the other. There's a PSL case now with Gitani that they had as well. I'm going to show you how the court pronounced differently based on different circumstances. But the rule of thumb is don't sign your rights away because litigation is expensive. A consultation with a lawyer will set you apart. Appearing in court is the money that you may not have. That's why then these big companies, they know that in as much as they infringe your copyright, it's rare that you're going to take them on. It's very rare unless you go to vet law clinic and they sympathize with the case and then they say they're going to take your case. Now, remember a contract and an agreement is what me and you talk about. So we can enter into a contract now without it being signed. Right? But in most industries, we emphasize that a contract must be signed. Because otherwise, if it's not signed, it's your way and it's mine. You know? He's an ass. I said this, you said that. So we emphasize that it must be a legally binding document. That's why the emphasis is document. So it must be writing. So you must write it so that you understand the terms. Right? In the industry now, there's a whole lot of 360 agreements where record companies want to take the whole of you. The whole of you from performing rights, they just want to have the whole of you. Because of that slide, you saw that slide? The sales themselves are dropping. What is happening is building Christos as a brand. So they want to have Christos as a brand because they don't know we are entitled to 20% in any endorsement that you get, whether it's Nike, whether it's Adidas. This is what they are doing now because they are seeing that they are using the strings on the work itself. What is becoming is people are becoming brands, right? And there are a whole lot of people in the industry that might have not produced or done any song in a long time, but they are brands and they move with endorsements because they are moving into the trademark space, right? But they started into the music. So most of these record companies, most of the contracts I have reviewed are 360, and I try to say cross this, cross that, rather not sign. Because if you sign your life away, know that it's so difficult to pull you out of that situation. So I've already alluded that oral is difficult to prove in court, so they have to be writing. You guys know the Mabena Vodacom story, very sad story, where somebody becomes creative, gives an idea. Now remember, again, let me emphasize, in copyright, which is what we all say, church idea. In copyright, we don't protect the idea. Right? We don't. Your idea here, somebody else, ex-office is thinking the same idea, the same beat, right? So it all depends who puts work into it. So who does something about this idea? That's what is now protected. We don't protect the thinking. And you tell Christos you stole my idea. You gotta prove now in court whether was it in writing, was it in a form of a tape or a CD or a beat. That's what you need to prove. Otherwise, if it's an idea, it's anyone else's idea. It belongs to everybody else. So we don't protect ideas, we protect an idea where the work has been done on it. That's why it's protected. Now in South Africa, like I've said, we don't register for copyright. Other jurisdictions register. South Africa, we don't. Once you have that idea, the little bit you can do with it is in writing is to put a C and then put that circle. You know the copyright signs. I forgot to put it on the sign. You do that. The other way of protecting it is to give people non-disclosure agreements, the NDAs. To then say, okay, me and you agree with it, I'm going to give you this, you're going to listen to it if you like it, and this thing constitutes, because now remember if I've given you a CD, I need to try in writing, state what is it that it constitutes, so that your rights are protected, then I give it to you. Now I've got proof, I've got an NDA that cannot disclose this thing to anybody else, but there is a physical form of it. That's why this is protected in our copyright. Now, the Vodacom case quickly, because it was more related to intellectual property. You know the story of the guy and the girlfriend was in Natal, keep on missing him, because he works for Vodacom because it was free, can call the girlfriend, but the girlfriend cannot alert the guy, but now I'm not intellectual, please call me. So the guy said, no, but there must be a mechanism where, as my girlfriend doesn't have the money on the other side, and he uses Vodacom countless minutes, you can alert me. So he formulated this idea, gave it to some guy in the product development. It went to the CEO, for us at least in writing, because there were email exchanges that happened. Then the CEO says, what a great idea, they steal it from me. This is where Please Call comes from. It started with Vodacom before MTN and Celsius and everybody else had it. So the guy felt beaten out of the car. Guys, please, I'm giving you the best idea. Now, this shows you that ideas like us, because this thing didn't start in the US, didn't start in Europe, started in South Africa. That thing, the principle started here. And remember, what started it are the circumstances. Someone is poor on the other side, someone is well off on the other side. So the question is, how do you elect me to call you back? So to cut the long short story, the guy's proof was, at least the CEO acknowledged him in the internal emails that, hey, Makate has given us this brilliant idea, it was in the newsletter and the like. So he was able to prove that. But believe you me, there was so much money involved in that litigation. It had to move from one court to the other until it went to the highest court where they said, no, you owe this guy. But the biggest mistake that the court did in this case was that, and of course, maybe they thought they are dealing with genuine people. They then said, go and negotiate what this guy is entitled to. Now, even today, the guy hasn't got his money. Because now the snag is, how much are you entitled to in this intellectual property that you have given Vodacom? It's a sad story, and I would love one of our lawyers to take it up, because it ought to have been settled. Okay.
So, in that case, versus an idea and versus somebody who has financial capability to execute your ideas. So on the social media age we're in right now, I register my Facebook page as Black Coffee. And then I've got a sound for myself. And then somebody steals my sound and the name. And then they execute it because of the financial gain. So if he succeeds, do I have a right to sue him?
Okay. Looks like there are two rights there as well, man. There's a little bit of trademark, which you're going to try and protect, and then there's what we call your music rights. Right? Now, this is it at the bottom here. The onus of proof is with you. Right? You sue as a plaintiff now. You must prove it. You must prove that indeed so and so stole your idea. And was it an original idea? Remember, as an author of this copyright, it must be original. So nobody else ought to have done it before. So you need to prove those things. If you are able to prove those things, yes, you have a case. In fact, the Copyright Act has two ways. There's a civil side of it, and there's a criminal side of it. Infringing a copyright is a criminal offense. Right. I've not seen much happening around the criminal offense part of it. And because naturally I think, if I police station abroad,
infringe copyright, they probably change their way. We change the royalties and never but in law, it's got two. It's got two ambits. There's a civil side and there's a criminal side of it. But the challenge with it, and you are right, this is where the bargaining power happens. The challenge around it is, one, you've got the honors to prove that it is yours. And depending on what is the resistance on the other side, it must now go to court. So you must have lawyers, you must have advocates. These guys can appeal. Same with what happened to Khoza. It went until the court. So one litigation at high court can cost you a good, if you are lucky, a good $1 million. If you are lucky. Now if you've got this big guy, he appeals to the Supreme Court of Appeals. He goes until the court, which is like what happened in Khoza. That's why we ended up getting other law firms who were prepared to take this matter for free. You know, not really for free. We've got something that we call concession. So you're going to pay me when I win your matter. So also again, Khoza is held down with his lawyers. And he was promised a 15%. So the negotiation is around that. Now remember, somebody must do that audit. How many, please call me, have gone? What are you entitled to? So it's a huge process. Now sometimes they're even relying to the very same people you are suing to do the audit. Because you can't do the audit yourself. It happens like that when somebody has infringed your copyright. You need to go and prove, where was this song played? Was it played outside South Africa? How many times did a particular radio station play it? Now that is a huge amount of work. We call it the auditing part. The people who are just good like they say they audit. This song was played so many times. It was played in so many adverts. It was played in so many, breaks and the likes. And remember, depending on the time, was it prime time, was it this and that. So it's a whole lot of work. Is it moving this way? I don't know, because it's giving me, it's not moving by my side. Now, there's another court case of Ayanda, and I want to make a distinction because case law is what is key. In as much as the law can say what it says, it is what the courts interpret. We call that case law. That's what is key. That's why I'm saying Judge Moore at the Constitutional Court has now been in the position to say, but don't rely on that, has been in the position to say, if the bargaining power was not equal, the court is likely to sympathize with you and look at what would have been the best interest in terms of protecting your rights when you entered into that contract. But don't count on that because courts sometimes pronounce like this, tomorrow they pronounce like that. But they've done it. Now the distinction with what Vinny said about somebody playing music out here, there is also another test. Vinny is correct in terms of the law. There is this public broadcasting. So you're broadcasting this music publicly. So the court has defined public in one court case, one butcher played a song to just 400 of its employees. The court interpreted that in as much as it is in the private property, you have broadcasted in the public space. So you are liable for those for paying those royalties. Two, the court has made a distinction on the Giya case, the PSL. You know this PSL does the features for the whole season. To say these are the features that that somebody started something I don't know what you call now, for it. You play it and you win if you predict certain things, certain scores. So PSL took Giya to court. Giya took over a national lottery. So, Chris, I don't know what's happening here. I'm going to need some of my slides. I'm doing physical memory to this. So Giya took, PSL had an arrangement with Timo, the predecessor of Giya. So they were paying them. Now they go into the space, and this is where you must be careful when you're in business. When you buy something, and this eludes big business, by the way. There's one more case abroad where Rolls-Royce sold their rights to another motor industry. They sold it. You can do this, you can manufacture. But they didn't sell the symbol, the Rolls-Royce. So without that symbol, there's no Rolls-Royce. So they went to court to say, no, we sold everything else but not the symbol.
You understand? So these things are very, this is picking up. These things are very delicate. So we have to, okay, let me just, okay, because I've got a few slides to go. Yeah, these things are very delicate. That's why reading and understanding that contract is very key for everybody else. Now, quickly on Kijani, the new test to Victor's point. Kijani was saying, no, but this thing, man, we are just reading it for the, it is a public domain. So you can't claim it as your intellectual property. But the court came up with a new test to say, we make a distinction when somebody is using your intellectual property for gain. That means these people are selling these things and people are buying tickets and they are gambling around it, so they are making money of it. Versus the one who's not making it for gain. Typical case is the lack of, you know, the guy who played with the SCP logo. Yeah, the last of when it's part of the Constitutional Court. So the Constitutional Court says, oh, this guy, we're from here. So you can't say he was infringing your trademark because it's just making laughter around it. He's not doing it for commercial gain. So there's a new test now. That test is not in the Trademark Act, is not in the Copyright Act. But the court, as they interpret it, they always say, so if somebody is playing music there, not for commercial gain, again the court will say, no, you were playing it, but it was not. Whereas when this establishment plays it, it attracts Thato. So this Rockefeller will never play versus some guy Germany uploading those are those things that when it gets to court, the court interprets it differently. Right? So I think I'm going to allow you to raise questions because I think I was about to finish with my slides. How much time do we have? 5, 10, 20, 2. Let's take questions because most of this will be.
Can we still move out and maybe just let them know it's easier than we use the mic?
Don't ask other questions.
Maybe this is a time of healing. I'm a musician to society. For shape practitioners as an administration. But anyway, my presentation now is on, you mentioned earlier the issue of fair use and fair using, which I know is still under a great discussion. First, my first question, I haven't been following lately, but I don't know how far I've gone, is what would be the best for the South African industry? Because I know it's got to do with the use of music and what we define as, for example, music is used for educational use. They'll say no, that is fair use, you don't have to pay royalties for that, it's educational use. And as you mentioned, it's not for commercial gain and so forth. So I just want to know which of the two firstly, because I know the one actually is more a legislation burden because you have to go to court every time to prove that your music was used actually for commercial gain and not as fair use of third use. So.
That's a difficult one because there are merits and demerits for both. One, we are still known under fair dealing or fair use. At the same time, somebody may argue it's educational, right? So that's why this bill, it didn't start this year. Even 2018 has not been signed. And I think Parliament may go on recess now, not having passed it. That's how difficult it is because we are comparing ourselves with other jurisdictions like the US, where people are a bit literate compared to the South African situation. So there's always that. So somebody must make a call at the end, and I think, unfortunately, because this is under the ministry will have to make a call at the end to say, okay, for now, we believe fair use is fine, we're putting it there. So we're not going to see any copyright infringement if it's fair use. Now the question with fair use is how do we define it, and where does it stop? Right?
would now this kid who has taken this copyright take it home, duplicate it to another kid? So that's it. The question is, when do we stop? But I envisage a situation, because government is sensitive towards it, I envisage a situation where we're going to allow it. But remember, acts are amended every time. We may allow it for the next 5 or 10 years, and then later on revert it, because the society would have changed, and the literacy rate and other things would have improved. I know it's a huge argument even with the CEO of SAMRO. Spoke about it at length at SAFM, and a lot of creatives don't like it. There's somebody here.
Yes. Yeah, I have 2 simple questions for you. So the first one is, how much does a charge for contract licensing? And then the second one, what type of lawyer is entitled to do this kind of work? Because I know that
Okay. A quick one. We're going to differ with a good friend of mine. He's not here. He always believes to intellectual property law. When we go to school, we study everything. Like medicine, you study everything. Later on in life, you then choose what it is that you want to specialize with. But nothing beats speciality. If a guy is doing road accident fund, you can't tell him anything about road accident fund because he knows it. He's dealt with similar cases around that. So he's almost an expert in road accident. But that doesn't mean he can't do assault, he can't do GBH, he can't do rape, right? You can still do it. But another one will refer to you and say, no, I don't deal with this. Now, the challenge with intellectual property in the country is that, especially on the music right part of it, leave patents and trademarks, your big firms like Adams and Adams are good at it. With music, there are very few people who are good at it. There's a good friend of ours, Graham, he's good. I tell people, he's good at it. So you give him a call. You give a friend of mine, Chris, Mama Chusha, a call. He's based at Ghana Square. There are few, because Chris has worked at SABC, so he knows this thing from inside as to what is happening. So you need a little bit of that understanding. How much they charge depends from one lawyer to the other. There are no standardized prices for lawyers. We tried doing that. The Competition Commission kicked it out and said, no, you can't. You can't have set prices. So we charge differently. Another person will say, just to open a file for me is 1,000. Just to open a file before I hear what you say. The other person may say, okay, let me hear you. What I try to do myself, really I don't charge. I hear you and I tell you the case or you don't have a case. It depends what we do now in terms of building and doing the work. But just give you a call and say, watch this, watch out. But this is tedious to go through a company. They are this thick. I just went through another record company, I won't mention the name, where the 360 thing is big. And remember, the bargaining is not even. So I said, cross this out, cross this out, cross this out. They came back and said to the lady, no, we can't sell you. I said, choose now. You're better off not selling your soul and your life away, or you want to be part of this deal, but this is what it means. Because if you are very good, they're going to tie you to a third record with 10 songs, nothing new and less. They're just going to tie you.
So what is the minimum
of charging? It depends what matter you're bringing. If you want me to review a contract for you, it could work around 5 grand. Just to review the contract. But let me be fair with you, because I love this industry. You can literally go to best.uni, right? They've got a means test to say, are you employed? Do you have an income? How much is your income? If you meet their threshold, they can do it for you for free. Right? So I'm not going to say, come to me or come to my friends. No. If you can't afford it, go to any law clinic, any law faculty is supposed to have a law clinic. Go try them out, they may just help you for free. My brother?
Cool. Before we begin, what I wanted to check? I've just started a business where I manage artists outside at Mampane. But now, I'm looking at the slide that you did where the artists get 13%, management is So now how do I charge the band or the artist in terms of the work that I do? How do I say,
What do you do?
No, and for me is, obviously I've given my percentage to say this is what I'm going to be doing for you, so I'll charge you 50% of what I've done. So is it fair, or do I need, when do I drop it, do I draw it back? Can I charge you 30%? Because if I'm going to do synchronization, like you were saying, 20%, it's a one-off deal. You know, it could be 500,000, but when I'm getting a deal of 10,000 rand, can I take 50% of that? Can I take, how do I, when do you draw it back? Because you find one artist, it doesn't do anything, you just make the music. So that means you need to find two PR, you need to, manage him all the level, even in the personal life to some extent. So how do you make sure you get what you when you're taking your time? Because some of the artists, they pull out, they don't show up, so that means you wasted energy and time, which is intellectual property. So that you every day you're losing out, because you're spending money on that person, but you don't need another.
Yeah, look at the business call, how much you charge. I've seen colleagues who charge 15%, I've seen colleagues who charge 20%. It's you exactly, it's a business call. And remember, business is how many clientele do you want, right? If you charge 30-40%, you're going to have a few clientele. So it's a business call more than you having a particular figure. And if you're good at it, like a good friend of mine, he goes by Dog Devin, in Devin. He's been on social media. He's good at what he does. He speaks a whole lot of things I don't agree with in social media. But he's good at what he does. That's why even now, Kaiser has used him for Philip Moses Mabena, because it's just good at what he does. So I don't know what he charges. It all depends, how good you are at what you're doing. Yeah.
Hello. This is the last question, because otherwise you can ask the questions for the next session.
Yeah, someone will talk probably half of what I, emphasize what I've said. I'm still here for 30 minutes.
My name is Ola, and I'm an engineer. I want to find out with publishing your how does that work? I think I saw somewhere it is that publisher keeps the rights to the music that you made within the agreement that you guys made. So I just wanted to find out that question in terms of publishing agreements.
It's a difficult question because we're publishers, we not like what I said. I would prefer collecting agencies versus being publisher. Then to defend themselves. Christos spoke about chairpersons in Portugal. Then to defend themselves. You see, with SAMRO and others, you own the rights, you just license them to collect money for you. So you could decide not to be a member tomorrow, your rights are left to you. Whereas with publishing, it's a different story. You've sort of assigned them to them, and then you even assign them further, right? But they can come here and tell you a different story. But again, it all depends what it is that you assign, right? Remember that publishing agreement, you can limit it. To say, no, me, I give it until you get it. If you want to give it to some guy in the US, you have to get my consent, and we'll negotiate. So it's always better to have a revision clause in your contract. To say, when this is happening, we want us to revise it, so that we don't sign them away. Because you may find that whatever song you think is whack, it starts just, the South African public would just love a song that you listen to it and be like, what is this? And the song is everywhere in the radio station, right? Now, if you sign the audio rights away today, now if you have a revision clause, when you say, no, once you reach this element, I want you to come back and let's revise. What is it that we're doing? So that's why I'm saying I don't want to speak back and hear them speak for themselves, but I would prefer collecting agencies versus publishers. Because publishers do exactly that. Unless in that contract you start saying, this I want it out, this I want it out. You want to add? The publisher is here.
Thank you.
Look,
we're going to try to start.
A lot of things about the publisher, a lot of incorrect and correct things. If you want to know in full detail, come to me. It's too short a time for me to give a full and proper picture. But I'm willing to tell you anything you want to know honestly. So I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you anything. Thank you. My name is Thato.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Let's welcome Mr.